Time to take an in-depth look at this game as we do a couple times a week here with Roll the Tape. We throw the questions to our expert, Dave Wyman. Let's start here, Dave. What was the key to the defense? They had that first drive where you went, oh, no.
Yeah.
This is bad. 75 yards, 8.5 minutes, by the way, that drive went.
I was cranky. That one, we started off that way, and I was like, come on. What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, they were on the field forever.
Yeah.
And two of the first three drives were over 8 minutes long. But anyway, I digress. So off to a bad start, give up the touchdown, and then they allow 10 total points the rest of the game. What was it? And you talked about the explosive plays that were the week before that weren't there this one. What happened in this game that didn't in others?
Yeah, the longest play was actually occurred with like 22 seconds left. It was that long run that Jalen Hurts had. That was the 20-yard run, but everything else was below that. They started paying attention to little details. Like, here's how you blow up a screen. First, take the receiver that's trying to block you and ragdoll him or throw him to the ground. Did you see Mike Jackson knock on? Now, I know Devontae Smith, I was watching him warm up.
He's a little dude. He's a little guy.
Did you see his legs? I mean, he was out there with shorts before the game. They look like pencils. I mean,
he's
tiny.
listed at 180.
No way. But anyway, but Mike Jackson did to him exactly what you should do. He just dumped him right on his wallet, as Rabel likes to say. So, yeah, I love that. I mean, take care of that part first. Dispense the receiver. Just throw him to the ground and then make the tackle, make the play. And that's what they started doing that. And same thing with the screen on the interior. And I'll name two guys that I think really played well that were kind of unsung heroes. One is Big Cat, Leonard Williams, and then the other one is Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson might be a little slow in coverage, not nearly as fast as Reek, but he does the right thing. Remember, I said this on Bump and Stacy. What did I used to say about Ben Burkervin?
He's always in the right spot.
Always
doing the right thing.
Always doing, yeah. And then don't care if he's maybe a little slow, whatever he's doing. And so that's what it was, really. It was just paying attention to little details.
By the way, quickly, Devontae Smith, I was 10 pounds off. He's listed at 6 feet tall, which to me is not accurate. 170.
Yeah.
Which means he's probably 165. Right?
That's me. I could be an NFL receiver.
You're not 6 feet tall.
No, but I'm the actual accurate. What he's probably 5'11", 165.
Yeah, he is incredibly, and like you look at like his hips, like it looks like they're like
he's like a little boy,
8 inches wide, you know. And so, but that's what Mike Jackson's like 215. So yeah, he dumped him there, but that's what you're supposed to do to receivers.
Well, you jumped ahead on this one day, but let's get deeper into it. Who were the unsung heroes in this game?
I don't know if you've heard of this, but Mike Jackson had a really good game. No, I really did, and just the details of how he takes things on. Here's the thing I love about Mike Jackson is he is very old school. First of all, Mike, we found out that he takes Epsom baths, right? Epsom salt baths. He said he called it a backdoor or a backyard cure or something like that. And so
for what, soreness?
Yeah, and stuff like that. But he gets in like at 5:15, 6 in the morning. He watches film with Deshaun Shedd, who's one of his coaches, and he's just a very old school guy. And he plays that way too. He plays with a nastiness. And then also, this goes back to, after they drafted a cornerback. And, at first Reek Woolen busts on the scene. Then they draft Devin Witherspoon. And you could see where he could go in the tank there, because he played well last year. And he just grinded through it. I love everything about that kid. And he is, I think, a leader in that way. And then, I did bring this up, but I wanted to go into more detail because Mike Jackson and then Leonard Big Cat Williams, we don't really notice him that much, but if you go back through and look at like the All-22 and things like that, he's really difficult to double team, and he takes up a lot of space. Plus, he's pretty fast, and there's a couple of times where Rabel and I are making the call, and he's making tackles out by the numbers and out by the sidelines.
He's a pretty lean guy for how big he is.
Yeah,
you see a lot of those guys with the big belly, and they're kind of plodding. He's kind of long, and for his size, he's lean.
You saw him in the press conference, right?
Yeah, he's a mountain of a man.
Yeah, big dude. So I just feel like he is both him and Mike Jackson are kind of what that defense needs to be about. And one guy we didn't really talk about, and just Jordan Brooks, he was just there. I mean, I think he had a pretty good game, but these two guys really stood out to me. Now, obviously, Julian Love was the player of the game, but I really like what I saw from those two guys.
Before we moved on to the next one, how'd Trey Brown play? Because those were the two starters. You had Witherspoon, who was hurt. You had Reek, who was benched. Yeah. So you had Mike Jackson, and Trey was on the other side.
Yeah, what I was describing as far as the blocking and on the screenplays, he didn't do that. Trey didn't really. I mean, he did okay. I thought he did okay. And for Trey Brown, when he doesn't make a play, you're almost surprised, right? Because that guy always makes plays. But I thought he was okay.
All right, what's one thing looking at the Seahawks team that they need to improve on in order to win out? They got 3 games left, and every one of them mean the world. You got to figure they need all 3. So what's if you're going to isolate one thing and say this has got to be better or improve, what is it?
All 3 quarterbacks that we're about to play would say the easiest throw is in the middle of the field. It's right where you're looking. You don't, you have a good idea of, how much zip you have to put on the ball. Throwing it outside the numbers is really difficult. They need to protect the middle of the field. I don't know if you heard,
Is that linebackers?
Yeah, it's the 2 linebackers, and really Troy Aikman last night, he was all over Bobby Wagner.
Well, for good reason if you look at the replay.
Yeah, a couple of, and I think I sent you guys the replay and what he was saying, but you drop back in a zone and then you just turn around and look at the quarterback. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to, try to cover up somebody because that's a short throw, right? And it gets there in a hurry. And so, and I think, when you're in your 12th, 13th year, your break on the ball is not going to be the same. So, but yeah, you got to get little. And I did a football 101 thing on Devin Witherspoon last week, which is exactly how you should cover. Based on what happens in front of you, what are they doing behind you? You've got to move sideways. And I feel like our linebackers just drop right to the middle of the field on one hash, one on the other, and then they turn around and just look at the quarterback.
And the guys are running around behind them.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that is something that needs to get taken care of. And boy, Troy Aikman, he was up there just railing on Bobby. It was
but when they show the replay, it does look bad because he's doing exactly what you said. They showed him in his spot, and he just kind of pauses there. Yeah. Meanwhile, the receiver is running around behind him, and then you see the ball get thrown, and then you see Bobby turn around and oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Well, that's happened a lot, this year. And I'm not saying just Bobby. I mean, just whoever's dropping to the middle of the field. It's got to get taken care of. Look, Bobby's a really good player. We know that. We know he's a Hall of Famer and all that. But that's been kind of a problem this entire year, and everybody can see it. And I just thought it was interesting. I typically just fast forward through when I watch the game over again, but happened to hear Aikman kind of railing on that, and he would know, right? I mean, he knows where the easy throws are, and
unless you're one of the people that hates him and thinks he is biased against the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He's got an agenda.
Yeah.